Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. So today, what are we doing? Well, you saw in the thumbnail a little bit. We are working on the frame. In other words, I'm trying to neutralize the rust on it so then I can top coat it. And so I tried two products, and I should have done a smaller section on the one product because I wasn't very happy with the result. And I'll flip the camera around and show you the two products I'm using here in a second. One product I will say is the Rustolium Rust Reformer Gel, and the other I'm using is KBS Rustblast. Let me flip the camera around and I'll show you the two sections that I did and what I'm happy with and which one I'm going to be using for my entire frame, and then what I'm going to use to top coat it and what I'm going to do inside the frame. Anyway, let me flip the camera around and we'll jump right into it. All right, guys, in this section of the frame, which I kind of did a big area here, is I did the Rustolium Rust Dissolver Gel. And you can see it started to, in some areas, do it. Left a lot of white coat on, and you'll notice there's a lot of rust underneath there still. You know, I did this whole top area, and it really didn't do much. You know, so I'm really, in some areas, you can see it started to darken. Other, you know, a little bit down there, but it took a lot to get this area done. And then I had some KBS Rustblast, which I showed you, and then I decided to do this small section. And you'll notice this small section I am a lot happier with. You can see, you know, after a good 45 minutes, there's just a few little, you know, brown spots, but for the most part, it neutralized all the rust. This was basically the same amount, you know, that you saw. This is probably a little bit less than what you saw back there, but this section here, you can see, was very similar to what was in the back, and this did a much nicer job, I'll say, neutralizing the rust. Still just a few damp in a couple spots, but when it dries up, you know, it'll look really nice, and like I said, I think did a much better job of neutralizing, you know, the rust. I'll probably come back over this one more time and see if we can't get it just a hair better. But overall, I'm much happier with the KBS Rustblast than I am the Rustolium Rust Dissolver. So I don't know, you know, I tried to do this, you know, wet it down like they said, you know, keep it wet. I let it go for a good 30 minutes, and, you know, you can, like I said, you can see in areas that started to do it. And then, but I did the same thing here. I let this go a little longer, like 45 minutes, and I think it did a much better job kind of neutralizing the rust. So I'm going to do the whole frame with the KBS here, Rustblast. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to top coat it with this stuff. I've had good luck with this. This is Rustolium Farm Implement. Heavy weather, heavy duty, you know, rust preventative, all this. This is a low gloss black that I'm going to use. Same thing that I used when I painted my control arms. So the color will be very similar to this. I think this is more like a really nice satin black. So I'm really happy the way these turned out. So I'm going to paint the frame with that. I'm going to have to buy more of it, but that's what I'm going to do. So anyway, let me go ahead and continue on with the frame, and I'll show you the progress as we go through it. I am going to take these hoses here with some rattle cans and kind of go on the inside and, you know, shoot some stuff on the inside of the frame, you know, so we can get all this, try to taken care of as much as we can on the inside. So we can, you know, rust proof it the best we can. You can see where I welded it here, you know, where I boxed the frame in. I need to come in and try to, you know, this is all weld through primer. And so now what I need to do is kind of primer that again, and then like top coat the inside of the frame with some paint. So we can try to provide as much, you know, rust protection as we can on the inside. And then, like I said, we'll paint the whole thing on the outside. So that's kind of what we're doing with the frame. All right, guys, just a little update. We've kind of got the top part of the frame all done. Got this cleaned up a little better, so still a little damp down there. She's looking a lot better. There's still a few kind of heavy spots that we'll see if we can get them to get a little darker. So try to do a little more rust prevention there in that spot, because that's a shock mount right there. And so we're getting her. I put some on this clean metal to etch it. That's the only reason I did it, so it would etch. Put a little phosphate coat on here, so that way when I go to paint it right, the paint will adhere to the etch. You can see, she darkened up really nice here on this rail, and I kind of finished it out all the way to the front. So now I need to reposition the frame so we can do the top side of the frame all the way around, and I kind of need to get the bottom of this frame here, so I need to kind of flip this thing, and then I got to figure out how I'm going to cut. I'm probably going to take a drill in here and try to clean some of this rust up first before I kind of do any type of corrosion prevention in there. This is pretty thick. I'm not too worried about it. It's just some surface rust, but we'll try to clean it up a little bit, spray some stuff in there, and protect it as well. Yeah, anyway, we'll give you an update here in a little bit, how we're doing. Well, I've been doing that. I've been also getting the gearbox all cleaned up. I need to clean up a few more spots. And then we'll be able to prime. We'll use some etching primer like I did on the control arms, and then we'll top coat this the same black. So we'll get this all painted up nice, so that way when we bolt it on the frame, this will be ready to go here soon as well. All right, guys, so we got the frame. This is the bottom of the frame. Kind of resting down. What I'm going to do now is spend a little time, going in here, getting some of the crusties out of here. There's, some flakes in here, from beating the frame around. You can see a bunch of it fell out as I was moving it. So I'm going to try and, shop vac it out, get the air gun, blow a little bit of it out, get it cleaned up as best I can inside the frame here, and then spray some stuff on the inside. Try to protect it best I can. And then there's a few areas, that I need to spray inside of here too. I need to shop back in some areas inside of here from when I was welding. The weld through primer flaked, right? So I need to kind of clean that up so then I can spray inside the frame rails, that kind of thing. So be taping up some of the holes, because when you use those nozzles, these types of nozzles with the spray material, the stuff will blow freaking everywhere. So I'm gonna put tape over these holes, tape over these holes, where I'm gonna go in at, try to spray and not make a mess all over the place. So anyway, that's kind of what I'm getting ready to do. Well, guys, I was cleaning up driver's side front rail there, and you notice blew out a mouse house and a bunch of crap. Yet the mouse house was, plugging up. So still got a little bit more to get out, but figured I'd show you what a mess I found. All right, guys, so just a quick update. We pretty much have the whole bottom, inside, outside of the frame. The only thing I got left to do really is just the very top. What I've done is taken some 80 grit paper and scuffed up all these bars here. I was thinking I might take some self-etching primer, just rattle can these bars, and then we'll paint over top of them, so that way they've got, more protection than, because these things aren't, roughed up or anything really, like I said. So we'll do maybe some self-etching primer, and then now this has a nice phosphate coat, it's etched. We can go ahead and just paint over top of the frame. I'm going to clean it up just a little bit more. There's a few spots I want to wipe down a little better. You can see there's a couple of damp spots yet. So once we get this cleaned up just a hair more, I'm probably going to, like I said, prime this first. And then what I'm going to do is I think spray inside the rails here next with rust reformer, the spray can, the aerosol can. I've got the wands. I'll go through and spray inside all of these frame rails with that. And then we'll let it sit for 24 hours like the can says, come back through, and then top coat it with the Farm and Tractor. I got aerosol cans of the Farm and Tractor, what I use to paint the control arms. And the steering gear way over there, you know, we'll top coat it with that, you know, here soon. So that's where I think I'm at right now. Like I said, I think I'm gonna go ahead and paint the inside of the frame with the Rustolium stuff, let it sit for 24 hours, spray these bars with the self-etching primer, clean up the bottom of the frame here just a little bit more, flip it over, and then we'll do the top side phosphate stuff, and then most likely flip it back over for the night and just let it kind of do its thing overnight, and then tomorrow we'll top coat it and then probably start painting it. So that's kind of where we're at with the frame. So guys, when I sprayed the inside of the frame, you know, basically I ordered this package set here, and it came with, you know, you can see here, right, it came with this style. This is from another kit, but it came basically with this open style cap, all right, not this style here. And it gives you a couple of these little metal inserts, but the thing that I found most valuable was this little guy. This is just a little, I don't know what it is, silicone sleeve, if you will. If I can find a bunch more of these, I want to get them, because what happened is when I slid it over top of this, right, the stem, if you will, then I was able to slip this cap over it, and it sealed up real good, and I didn't have stuff splattering everywhere. Now you can see on the floor, you know, I made a mess. But, you know, once I put that little sleeve on it, that little silicone sleeve, if you will, and sealed it up to this cap, I had no problems. It worked out really, really well. This cap here, I was able to use without any type of sleeve on, you know, some other style of cans. So depending on the can you have, you know, you can make these work and seal up. So just FYI. I'll put a link in the description for these that I had purchased. And if I can find more of these little silicone sleeves here, or at least, you know, find out if I can find, you know, what might work too, guys, is like heat shrink. You could probably build up some heat shrink on top of this can, put a little heat shrink like this, and then slip that over and seal it up. And then who cares, right? You throw the can away with the heat shrink and trying to find this stuff. Or I might see if I can find, you know, a roll of silicone tubing, you know, like, I don't know what diameter this is. I'll have to figure it out. All right, guys, so we were about to paint it. So what I did is you can see I used an extra engine stand that I have to raise up the front of it as high as I could. So that way, you know, I have plenty of room to get underneath it, you know, to paint the bottom side. You know, make sure I get good coats under it. You know, I can stand up for most of the areas. When we get to the back here, well, I may see if I can get a couple boards to raise this up a little higher, at least a couple inches to help me out. One thing I did, if you notice, the holes in the back of the frame, I put the jack stands inside the hole, so hopefully I can paint all around it. You know, and then we'll just touch up the holes themselves. On the front, you know, I tied it around the front there with chains, so we'll have to touch those up afterward as well. But I should be able to paint the whole underside of the frame, the whole top side, the whole suspension area, you know, and then just touch up a couple areas from here. What you see on top there is I had a little bit of rust reformer in a spray can left, so I went ahead and after I did the coating, you know, stuff on the top of the frame, I just threw that on the top, figure what the hell, some extra protection. And then, you know, I did some self-etching primer on those, you know, rails that I added, the stiffeners there. And so now I just need to clean up a couple areas, like clean up a little bit of that there. Just wipe down a few areas, and then we'll just get the Farm and Implement paint there and start painting this. I thought about originally thinning it and then adding some Japan dryer, and I still may thin it and add just a little bit of Japan dryer. The idea is I want to do 2 coats of this. If I thin it, it won't be much, and if I add the Japan dryer, it's just like a couple drops, just to get this to dry quicker. So what I want to do is 2 coats. I'll do 1 coat today, let it dry, and then another coat tomorrow, let it dry for a week, and then we'll start putting the front suspension in it. I also plan on putting the engine in it, figuring out a transmission cross member, and for right now, we'll put the stock axle in it, just so I can roll it around. We'll put in the old control arms. I have some new stuff I'm going to show you that I picked up off Marketplace in the future. When I get the 9-inch done, I picked up a really good deal on some control arms, rear control arms. And then I'm going to make a back bar here. That'll be another video. But anyway, let's get this painted. We got a bunch of content coming up, guys, on all the frame stuff. All right, guys, so just a quick little update. Here is the first coat of paint. This is from last night. It is the next day, and you know, it's nice and dry to the touch. So we're gonna go ahead and install a second coat. Yes, I brushed this whole frame. I did not spray it. So there's a couple of, you know, brush hairs here or there. Don't care. The one thing I guess I wish I'd have thought or planned out a little better was I probably should have set the engine in place and figured out where the transmission cross member is going to go, because now I'm going to have to, you know, remove some paint, right? Weld in the cross member attachment somehow, and then, you know, do that. Anyway, piss poor planning on my part, but that's a minor thing to have to do, you know. So we'll go ahead and install the second coat, and yeah, I'm really happy with the way it's turning out and looking. It's really looking nice. So like I said, spend another about 4 hours or so painting this whole frame. Well, guys, I totally forgot to film, you know, the wrap-up of the frame painting video. It turned out awesome. Really happy with, you know, the KBS Rustblast, as well as, you know, using the nozzles to kind of paint the inside of the frame. I used the same spray paint. I'm sorry, the spray paint was the same stuff that I used to paint the frame with, the Rustolium Farm and Implement with those nozzles. So I was able to spray it up in there, and I need to do a little more, but it turned out really good. So I would highly recommend using the Rustolium Farm and Implement type paint, as well as like the KBS Rustblast. So anyway, guys, have a great day in your shop, and we'll see y'all in the next upload.